Hello,
and welcome
to another episode of Film Bouillabaisse.
I'm Alison Parker.
And I'm Logan Albright. We haven't seen each other in a little while.
It has been, I think, since Thanksgiving last year. Happy Thanksgiving. Today is Thanksgiving. We do an episode every year. And today we are going to talk about a brand new film that we've both seen amazingly called
Frankenstein by Guillermo Del Toro.
So, before we begin, I just want to briefly talk about our experiences with Guillermo Del Toro.
Yes.
For me, I discovered him in college right after The Devil's Backbone or El Espinazo del Diablo came out, and I fell in love with it, and I rewound, so to speak. I probably did have it on VHS, and saw Kronos, and so then I followed along with him through Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth. What about you? When did you get the Del Toro bug?
I think the first movie where I really noticed him and liked him, I think I saw Hellboy, but I didn't think that much of it. But I think I saw Crimson Peak and I really loved it. And then I became more interested in him, and I saw Pan's Labyrinth, The Devil's Backbone, Kronos, Nightmare Alley, Aquaman.
No, we'll stop there.
Shape of Water.
Brr, it's cold out here. There must be some Del Toros in the atmosphere. Anyway, we saw the film separately. And we had a different experience because I saw it at home as a streamer.
Yes.
You?
I went to the movie theater like a good old-fashioned movie patron and saw it.
Not patronizing at all. But anyway, let's begin to talk about the film a little bit. I mean, Mary Shelley famously wrote this when she was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible. I mean, when I was 18, I wasn't doing stuff like that.
No, it's an amazing book. I really like it a lot.
I wasn't doing bad, but I wasn't doing that.
Heavily adapted book, been adapted many, many times. So, when I saw that Del Toro was doing an adaptation, first of all, I thought that it was perfect for his style.
It really was.
But I was also like, another Frankenstein adaptation, how many more do we need?
Right. I mean, Jacob Elordi, who a lot of you know from Saltburn, he in no way resembles Boris Karloff, and so it's not supposed to be redolent of that. It's supposed to be its own thing, as David S. Pumpkins would say. So I liked that even though this was in many ways kind of a classic Frankenstein tale, there was the Del Toro aesthetics. So you have the patina look on everything.
Yes.
You have the gem tones. The costuming had a lot of jewel tones. You have the scenery where it blends from orange or pink to greens and blues in the same shot.
Yeah, it really reminded me, aesthetically, of Crimson Peak, because it's got that Victorian kind of very lush, very beautiful feel. The cinematography is great in it. I have sort of a frustrating relationship with Del Toro, to be honest, though. Because I love his aesthetic. I love his sort of dark fairy tale thing he has going on. It's totally up my alley, and I'm always rooting for him. But most of his movies I find are not quite what I want them to be, and I get a little frustrated with them. I think Pan's Labyrinth is perfect. I think Crimson Peak is really good. Everything else I've seen by him, I'm like, it's almost there, but it's not quite there. And I felt the same way about this one.
I understand what you mean. And I would just say, too, if you love Pan's Labyrinth, please go and fill in the gap with Devil's Backbone, because they have a lot of similarities. They're both about a kid. It's a little boy in Devil's Backbone. He lives in an orphanage. But they both take place during the Spanish Civil War, and they are very good bookends for one another. They're very complementary of one another.
Yeah. I think this was largely pretty faithful to the book as an adaptation. You seem to go back to the book rather than to the movies, which is nice. One thing I didn't like where it kind of deviated from the book is I think it abandoned some of the moral complexity of the book. Because
sure, yes.
In the book, maybe this is a spoiler, so I don't want to
spoil it. Trying to read your whole book.
Yeah, read the book, and and maybe this won't be a spoiler. But in the book, the monster is justifiably wronged. He's wronged by the doctor, and you understand why he's upset about it.
Yes.
But he does some pretty heinous stuff himself. He goes after Frankenstein's family and basically wants to torture Frankenstein and make him as miserable as he is. And so there's a little bit of a give and take, and both of them are horrible to each other. In this one, it's kind of simplified to the doctor is the clear villain and the monster is the clear victim. And
yes.
I didn't like that they kind of whitewashed some of that moral complexity.
They simplified it to almost didactic, right?
Right?
Let's talk about some of the performances. So we already talked about the lush scenery that you can just sumptuous scenery and costuming, but there were some really good performances. So
all the acting was great. I had no complaints.
Anybody that knows me knows I love Oscar Isaac in a way that sometimes concerns my husband. But he's fantastic in it and playing a little bit of a different role than we've seen him in before. The closest maybe is Alex Gardner's Ex Machina. So if you liked him in Frankenstein or you liked him in Ex Machina, make sure you watch the other. And then Mia Goth. What do you think about Mia Goth?
Very good. And we get Christoph Waltz, who's always a pleasure to see.
I didn't know he was in this.
Yeah.
And when Joe and I saw it and his name popped up on the screen, I mean, we just hooted. I mean, what does he not? He's like Nutmeg. Like, he always makes everything a little bit better.
He's great. He's a joy to watch in everything.
Yeah. And I don't have a lot of familiarity with Jacob Elordi, but
either.
he's a fairly newcomer, and he's really pulling a heavy load here.
Yeah, he just did a great job as his role as the creature and made it very sympathetic, and you understood where he was coming from. I thought he was very good.
One thing I did not like, and you may disagree with me on this, but at the very end, there is to back up a little bit, she famously wrote the story, and help me fill in the gaps if they're wrong, but there was like this party overnight, and they were having a contest to see who could write the best story overnight, and it was like her and Lord Byron and all of their cohort. Yes, Percy Shelley. And so then at the end, she won this contest, right? Fair and square. But at the end of the movie, Del Toro puts in a quote from Lord Byron, and I was like, sir, really? You couldn't have quoted Mary Shelley, or maybe even her husband. I would have been okay with that. But I was just like, come on, she won that contest, not Lord Byron.
That's
Lord
true.
Byron
but there is sort of a Byronic hero element to the story. Like there's a similarity there, I think.
Is it Byronic, or is it from their time period and from their cohort? You know, they were all alive during the same time. They were all roughly the same age.
Yeah, it's the group dynamic that they had, I think.
They were like the original Rat Pack.
Yeah.
Whereas J.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis and all of them were like the Rat Pack.
We just talk a little bit about the structure of the film, because it is set in basically two flashbacks. The first flashback is you kind of get the doctor's half of the story from his point of view, and like what he was thinking and why he did what he did and what happened. And then the second half, you get the creature's point of view, and you learn like what he thought was going on, and a little bit more sympathetic portrayal of him. What do you think of that way of structuring the film?
I was very surprised, but not in a bad way. The beginning reminds me of that show, I think it's on AMC, and I'm blanking on the guy's name, but it's called The Terror, and it's about the ship that gets stuck in the sea ice, and they winter over a series of years.
Right, because the framing device is that they're on a ship in the Arctic, and they're like, the doctor is found by these sailors who are, they're
Danish,
maybe Dutch, maybe Danish.
I think it's Danish.
Sure.
The HMS Terror, by the way, is what I was thinking of.
Right.
So I liked that because of the isolation, the interiority of it. You're stuck. It's almost like a bottle film, or a bottle. It's not the whole film, but it's a bottle. Where do you go? It's agoraphobic and claustrophobic at the same time, which is a hard feat to manage.
For sure.
Did you find the flashbacks disorienting? No,
I like them. I like seeing the two different points of view, and like it's not just the same events told from two different points of view. It's like one picks up where the other leaves off and carries on. I thought it was a nice way of telling the story. I enjoyed it.
Some of my favorite sequences, just because they were very original and novel, were the ones that happened in the old school surgeries.
Yes, definitely.
You could really see a lot of the natural sunlight coming in from the circular window in the sky, and he played a lot with light coming in from certain windows through clocks. But I liked all those sequences because they're always doing something weird in the surgery.
Right. One other criticism I have of the film is the way that he kind of soups up the creation with superpowers. It took me out of it a little bit. It didn't feel as real as it could have been. It's like when you're flinging people 30 feet across the room and you're being blown up and reconstituting from nothing.
Yeah,
it's a little bit phony, and that kind of bothered me because that's not true to the novel, and it felt a little Marvel-esque.
Yeah. And then we had a very good little cameo. We didn't have the little girl by the lake, but what we had instead was he made a friend, and Game of Thrones fans and Harry Potter fans will recognize this character actor. Yeah. Did you like that kind of pastoral sequence?
Oh, definitely. I did too. I liked that a lot.
You needed that breather.
It was a little reminiscent of the scene in Young Frankenstein where Gene Hackman wants to serve espresso. I was going to make espresso. It's a little similar to that. Yeah, I like that sequence a lot. It was good to kind of see the creature kind of learn human language and learn how to interact with people in a more gentle way.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, have you heard what Del Toro's next project is?
No, tell me.
Well, we'll put it in the show notes, but they're doing something else. Mike Flanagan just wrapped a new Carrie. You see a lot of the rebooting, the reimagining happening. So what's one property, one piece of IP you think warrants a fresh look?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
What hasn't been done at this
Everything's
point?
been done, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I want original storytelling. It kind of
Me
bothers
too.
me when I see remakes. and
Ari
stuff.
Aster has been doing that. I don't like his latter two films as much as I like the first two big ones, Midsommar and Hereditary.
Yeah.
But he's somebody that's fresh and new. I will say, what I think should be rebooted, Night of the Lepus.
Oh, you know what I think should be rebooted?
What?
Gumby.
Oh,
Because Gumby is so weird.
It is
and
so weird.
so bizarre and so unique.
Pokey.
I was always expecting there to be like a hipster renaissance of Gumby and people would rediscover it, and it
Yeah.
never happened. So I want Gumby to come back.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Those are our prognostications for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, Logan, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for having
Happy
me and
Thanksgiving
Joe
to you.
again, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Hopefully not a year from now. Keep it real.